Hello, everyone. I'm your host, Ryan. Welcome back to Speak Up, the podcast that helps you grow your English skills step by step. If you've ever felt nervous before a job interview, especially one in English, you're not alone. Today's episode is going to help you feel more confident, more prepared, and honestly, less stressed.
Hey friends, I'm Priya. I know job interviews can feel scary, especially if English isn't your first language. But don't worry, we're here to make it easier. In this episode, we'll break everything down in a way that feels real and useful. Think of us like your English-speaking buddies, helping you through the process.
That's right. We're not here to throw fancy words at you. We're here to talk the way real people talk during interviews. Simple English, real examples, and practical help. You'll learn how to introduce yourself, answer questions, and show confidence, even if you're still learning.
And remember, English doesn't have to be perfect to be powerful. As long as you're clear and confident, you can make a great impression. So grab a notebook or just listen closely. Let's jump into today's topic, how to give a job interview in English.
All right, so we've talked a little about what today's episode is all about. Now let's dive into the first big point, understanding the real purpose of a job interview, especially when it's in English. See, most people think the interview is only about answering questions correctly, but actually it's more about how well you can communicate your value. In English interviews, your words matter, but how you say them matters just as much. It's about clarity, confidence, and connection. Interviewers aren't just listening for answers, they're also watching how you speak and how comfortable you seem using English.
Exactly, Ryan. And that's something many learners miss. They focus only on the right words, but forget about the message behind the words. In an English job interview, your goal is to show what you bring to the table. Your skills, your attitude, your personality. The way you speak should reflect who you are. And even if your grammar isn't perfect, that's okay. What matters is that you're clear and confident. Phrases like, I'm really passionate about this field, or I've worked on similar projects in my last job, are simple, but they leave a strong impression.
Yes, and here's another important part. Interviews are a chance for the company to imagine you in the job. If you speak clearly, stay calm, and express yourself well in English, they'll think this person can handle communication with clients or team members. That's a big plus. So instead of thinking, I hope I don't make a mistake, try to think, how can I explain my skills in a way that sounds natural? Even something like, in my last job, I learned how to manage time under pressure shows both your experience and your ability to speak with clarity.
And when you're practicing, think of it like storytelling. You're not just listing facts, you're telling your career story in English. Start from the basics. For example, I studied accounting and then worked at a firm for 2 years where I led small teams. That's clean, professional, and easy to understand. It's not about using big words, it's about using the right words. Keep it real, keep it direct, and practice until you can say it smoothly, like you're talking to a friend.
That's such a good point, Priya. It's also okay to pause and think during your answers. In English-speaking interviews, it's normal to say things like, let me think about that for a moment, or that's a good question. These little phrases show you're thoughtful and they actually make you sound more professional. You don't have to rush. The goal is to sound confident, not fast. Confidence is calm.
Right, and when you feel nervous, just remember the interview isn't a test. It's a conversation. The person on the other side wants to get to know you, so focus on being clear, honest, and calm. Use short sentences, practicing them aloud. Things like, I enjoy working with people, or I take deadlines seriously. These sound simple, but they really work. And once you understand that, giving a job interview in English becomes much more manageable.
Now that we've understood how important it is to communicate clearly in a job interview, let's talk about something just as important, researching the company and the role using English. This step often gets skipped, but it can actually make or break your interview. When you take time to learn about the company, you can connect your answers to their values and goals. And when you do that, in English, it shows effort, interest, and professionalism.
Absolutely. A great place to start is the company's official website. Look at the About Us page, their mission statement, and any recent news or blog posts. Try to notice the words they use to describe themselves. Are they innovative, customer-focused, fast-growing? These are keywords. If you can repeat some of those naturally during the interview, it shows you're already thinking like one of them. For example, if they say, "We believe in teamwork," you can say, "I enjoy working in a team environment because I believe it brings out the best in everyone."
That's a great example. And don't forget the job description itself. It's like a cheat sheet. It tells you exactly what the company wants in a candidate. Let's say it says, looking for someone with strong communication skills and the ability to manage multiple projects. That tells you two things. You should talk about your communication and also your multitasking. You might say something like, in my last job, I managed 2 projects at the same time and had regular meetings with the team to stay organized. Short, clear, and directly connected to their needs.
Another goldmine is LinkedIn. You can search for people who work at the company, look at their profiles, see how they describe their roles. If many of them talk about creativity or leadership, you know those are qualities the company values. And guess what? You can use those words in your answers. For example, I've always tried to bring creative solutions to problems, or leadership is something I'm really developing in my current role. It's like speaking the company's language.
Exactly. And when you speak their language, in English, they see you as a better fit. Even if your English isn't perfect, the fact that you're using relevant keywords and showing interest makes a strong impact. You might also say something like, I was really inspired by your company's mission to support small businesses. Or, I noticed your recent project on sustainability, and that's something I care deeply about too. That shows real engagement and all in simple, clear English.
Yeah, it's not about memorizing fancy lines. It's about preparing with purpose. If you go into an interview already knowing what the company does, what they stand for, and what they expect in the role, you'll be more confident. Plus, it helps you ask better questions at the end of the interview. And we'll get to that later. But for now, just remember, research gives you the power to connect. And when you connect, your English interview becomes a conversation, not a challenge.
So now that we've looked at how to research the company and role in English, let's talk about one of the most important moments in any job interview, your self-introduction. This usually comes right at the start, and it sets the tone for the entire interview. A strong introduction doesn't have to be long or complicated. In fact, the best ones are short, clear, and confident. You want to cover your name, your background, what you're doing now, and what you're aiming for next.
Exactly. Think of it like telling your career story in just 30 to 60 seconds. Here's a simple template anyone can use. Hi, I'm Priya. I have 4 years of experience in marketing. Right now, I'm working as a digital marketing associate at a retail company. I'm looking to grow into a role where I can lead campaigns and work with a creative team. It's clean, easy to say, and gives the interviewer a quick picture of who you are. And the best part, you can practice it ahead of time, so it feels natural.
That's the key, practice, but not memorizing word for word. If you try to repeat a script perfectly, you might freeze or sound robotic. Instead, understand your own story. Think about your real journey, your job titles, your projects, what you enjoy. Say it in your own words. And say it out loud. Practice in front of a mirror or record yourself. That way you get comfortable and it sounds natural during the real interview.
And you can make small changes depending on the job. For example, if you're applying for a customer service role, you can highlight that. Hi, I'm Amit. I've worked in customer service for over 3 years. I'm currently helping manage client accounts at a telecom company. And I'm excited to take on a role where I can solve problems and help people more directly. You're still following the same structure, who you are, what you've done, and what you're aiming for, but it's tailored to the job.
I also recommend keeping your introduction positive and future-focused. Even if you're between jobs or switching fields, you can still sound confident. Try something like, I recently finished a certificate in graphic design and I'm excited to bring my creativity into a full-time design role. Notice how that focuses on what you're learning and what you want, not what you're missing. That's what interviewers love to hear in English: clarity and optimism.
Yes, and one last tip. Smile while you speak. It sounds simple, but it really helps your tone sound more friendly and confident. You don't need big words to impress. Just speak clearly, keep your structure simple, and show that you believe in yourself. That's how you make your self-introduction count in any job interview, and especially in English. Now that we've learned how to introduce ourselves clearly, let's move on to something every candidate faces: common English interview questions. These are the questions that almost always come up, no matter the job. And the good news is, if you prepare for them, you'll feel a lot more confident. One of the most popular ones is, tell me about yourself. We already covered the basics in the self-introduction, but here you can expand a little. Just remember to keep it professional. Don't go into personal hobbies unless they relate to the job.
Right. And another common one is, what are your strengths and weaknesses? Now, a good way to answer this in English is by keeping it honest but balanced. For strengths, pick something that fits the role. Like, I'm very organized and I like to plan ahead, especially when working on big projects. For weaknesses, avoid something that's a red flag. Instead, pick something small and explain how you're improving. Like, I used to struggle with public speaking, but I've been practicing by presenting in team meetings. That shows self-awareness and growth.
Another question many people hear is, why should we hire you? This is your chance to connect your skills to the job. You can say something like, I believe I'm a strong fit for this role because I have experience in customer service, and I enjoy helping people solve problems. Keep it short, focused, and always match your answer with the keywords from the job description. The more your answer sounds like a solution to their needs, the better.
Right. And now when it comes to those tricky questions, like tell me about a time you faced a challenge, that's where this STAR method really helps. STAR stands for situation, task, action, result. For example, last year, our team was behind on a project. Situation: I was asked to help manage the timeline. Task: I created a new schedule and had short daily check-ins. Action: in the end, we delivered everything on time. Result: that structure keeps your answer clear and organized, especially in English.
And here's a quick list of do's and don'ts for answering interview questions in English. Do: use short sentences, stay on topic, and speak clearly. Don't try to memorize big answers or use words you don't understand. If you get stuck, it's okay to say, let me think about that for a moment. That's totally normal in English interviews. It shows you're thinking carefully.
One more thing. Practice makes a huge difference. Try recording yourself answering these common questions, or ask a friend to help you with a mock interview in English. The more you hear yourself speak, the more natural it becomes. And remember, it's not about perfect grammar. It's about clear communication and confidence. When you speak with purpose, interviewers remember you.
Now that we've covered how to answer questions clearly, let's talk about something just as powerful: your body language and your voice during the interview. These two things can really change how the interviewer sees you. Even if your English isn't perfect, the way you sit, speak, and make eye contact can show confidence. For example, sitting up straight and smiling lightly while you talk gives a great first impression without saying a word.
Yes, and your tone of voice matters too. You want to sound calm and clear, not too fast, not too soft. Speak at a steady pace so the interviewer can understand you easily. A great tip is to use natural pauses. If you finish a sentence, take a small pause before starting the next one. It makes your speech more relaxed and helps your English sound more fluent. Also, try to avoid using filler words like or like too much. They can make you unsure unsure.
I totally agree. And let's talk about eye contact because it means something different in English-speaking culture. You don't need to stare, but you should look at the person when you're talking to them. If you're doing a video interview, look into the camera from time to time. It shows you're present and confident. Also, avoid crossing your arms or looking down a lot. It can make you seem closed off or nervous, even if you're just thinking.
Exactly. And let's not forget about gestures. In many English-speaking interviews, using your hands a little while talking is totally fine, even helpful. It makes your conversation feel more alive. Just don't overdo it. Think about how you talk to a friend when you're explaining something exciting. That kind of natural movement helps your words feel more real. And if you feel nervous, take a deep breath and smile. It instantly relaxes your body and helps your voice sound better.
And speaking of voice, recording yourself is a great way to practice. Try answering a few questions while sitting in a chair like you would in an interview. Watch how you sit, how you sound, and where you look. You'll catch small habits. Maybe you say ah a lot, or maybe you talk too fast. Once you notice it, you can fix it. Practice helps your voice become stronger and your message clearer in English.
Yes, and just to wrap up this part, confidence shows in your body even more than your words. So sit tall, speak slow, look engaged, and use natural movements. You don't need to act. You just need to be aware of how you come across. And when your voice and body match your message, even simple English can leave a big impression.
Now that we've talked about voice and body language, let's move on to something really important: how to speak about your work experience and achievements in English. This is your chance to show what you've done and how you've added value. But here's the thing: don't just list your job titles. Focus on what you did in each role. A great way to start is with something like, in my last job, I was responsible for managing daily customer support emails. It's simple, but it gives a clear picture.
That's a great point. And here's where action verbs really help. These are strong words like managed, improved, created, led, developed. They make your experience sound active and confident. For example, instead of saying, I helped with reports, you can say, I prepared weekly sales reports for the team. See the difference? It sounds more professional and gives a better idea of your role. Clear, direct language always works best in English interviews.
Absolutely. And when you're sharing an achievement, keep it short but focused. Try something like, one of my key achievements was improving customer feedback scores by 15% in 6 months. You're showing what you did and the result. It's powerful. You don't need to speak for 5 minutes. A few strong sentences are enough to leave an impression. Practicing these answers out loud also helps make your English flow more naturally.
Also, it's totally okay to connect your tasks to the job you're applying for. Let's say you're applying for a team lead role. You can say, in my previous job, I led a team of 4 and we completed projects ahead of schedule. That shows leadership, planning, and success, all in one sentence. And remember, even if your past jobs weren't in big companies, you can still show value with the right words.
Yes, and don't forget that even small wins are worth mentioning. You can say, I suggested a new system for tracking inventory and it helped reduce errors. That's a clear achievement. Or, I trained 2 new employees during my time there. These simple phrases highlight both responsibility and results. So when you're preparing for your interview, write down a few of your tasks and think, how can I turn this into a confident sentence in English?
Right. And one last thing, stay positive and real. Don't exaggerate, just be honest about what you did and how it helped. Simple sentences like, I worked closely with clients to solve their technical issues, or I improved our daily workflow by organizing tasks more efficiently, are very effective. Keep your language clean and your message focused, and your experience will speak for itself, even if your English is still a work in progress. Now that we've talked about how to speak about your work experience clearly, let's move to something a lot of people forget: asking smart questions at the end of the interview. In English-speaking interviews, the final part often goes like this. The interviewer says, "Do you have any questions for us?" And this is your moment to shine. Not to say, "No, I'm good," but to ask something thoughtful. It shows you're interested, serious, and already thinking like part of the team.
Exactly, and you don't need to ask anything complex. Even simple, clear questions can make a big impression. For example, Can you describe the day-to-day responsibilities of this job? That shows you're curious about what the role really involves and you want to understand the workflow. Another great one is, what does success look like in this role? It's a smart way to ask what the company expects without sounding nervous or unsure.
Those are great ones. You can also ask, what are the biggest challenges someone in this position might face? It's a question that shows maturity and planning. You're thinking ahead. Or try, how would you describe the team I'd be working with? This gives you a better idea of the work environment and culture. Plus, it shows that you care about how you'll fit in and collaborate with others.
And remember, asking questions also helps you decide if the job is a good match. You can even say something like, how does the company support learning and development? This makes you sound serious about growing and improving. English-speaking employers usually like people who want to keep learning. It shows motivation. You don't have to ask all these questions, but just picking one or two can leave a strong final impression.
Also, try to avoid questions that are too focused on salary or time off, unless the interviewer brings it up first. Those are important, of course, but asking about them too early can make it seem like that's all you care about. Stick to questions about the role, the team, or how success is measured. That's what shows professionalism and confidence in English-speaking interviews.
Yes, and here's a small tip. Practice saying these questions out loud so they feel natural. You can even write them down and bring them into the interview if you're allowed. That way, you won't forget under pressure. Asking questions is not a test, it's your chance to connect. And when you ask with confidence in clear English, it makes a great final impression.
Finally, let's talk about something that happens after the interview, but it's just as important: sending a thank you email in English. A lot of people skip this step, but it can really make you stand out. It shows that you're polite, professional, and serious about the job. And don't worry, it doesn't have to be long. A short, clear message is perfect, as long as it sounds genuine.
Yes, and here's a simple structure you can follow. Subject, thank you, dash, your name. Body, dear interviewer's name, thank you for taking the time to speak with me today. I really enjoyed learning more about the position and your team. I'm excited about the opportunity and would be happy to contribute to your company. Please feel free to contact me if you need any more information. Close with best regards, or sincerely, and your name. That's it. Professional, polite, and effective.
Exactly. And one key point, check your grammar and spelling before sending it. Read it out loud once or twice. Make sure the tone is warm and respectful, not too casual. Use full sentences. Avoid emojis or slang like hey or cheers. Keep it clean and clear. It's your final impression, and in English-speaking workplaces, it really matters. Even small mistakes in a follow-up email can feel unprofessional, so take your time.
Also, don't wait too long. Send the email within 24 hours of your interview. It shows that you're organized and respectful of their time. You can even personalize it a little, like, I especially enjoyed hearing about your upcoming project on renewable energy. It sounds exciting. That shows you were listening and engaged during the interview. It keeps you fresh in their mind in the best way.
So, to wrap it all up, we've talked about how to prepare, speak clearly, answer questions, and now how to follow up like a professional in English. Even if you're still learning, small steps like sending a thank you message help you grow. And trust me, these little things make a big difference in job interviews.
That's right. And thank you so much to everyone who's been listening to today's episode of Speak Up. We hope this helps you feel more confident the next time you have a job interview in English. Keep practicing, keep learning, and remember, you don't need perfect English, just clear and confident English.
Yes, thank you for spending your time with us. We really appreciate you being here. If you found this helpful, share it with a friend who's also looking for a job or learning English. And we'll catch you next time with more real, practical ways to speak up with confidence. Take care and good luck with your interviews.